Shalom Israel first. I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh by Shemel Shai by Shemel Kakodash. I want to see Pastor Ezra Millstone. Peace citation to one third of Israel. With this lesson, I want to title it City of Confusion. Alright, and I came across this one post. I'm going to play it right quick.
But nothing against them in general. I mean, I'm a huge believer in do what you want to do, like 100%. If you want to be a boy, girl, be a boy, girl. If you want to be a man, woman, be a man. I don't know. If you want to do whatever y'all doing, do it, right? But my issue is this. We are so quick to fight for their rights and to give them whatever it is that they want, right? Accept them for whatever it is they're doing. Again, right? Most people say the same thing. Like, I don't care what you're doing. Like, just don't, like, I'm not in it. Like, just do what you want, right? But when it comes to poly, everybody's so quick to be like, how dare you? Poly is so, you're going to hell. And it's like, bro, calm down. We're willing to accept two men being together, two women being together, a man changing to a man to a woman changing to a man to a man, whatever the fuck they're doing. But we won't accept that 3 or 4 or 5 people are willing to be together as a group. You know what I mean? It's not no side chick and hiding out and all this other stuff. None of that. It is 2 people, 2 women deciding to be with 1 man. Oh, you have low self-esteem and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. It's like, how can this even be real right now? You are condemned to hell for being in poly. People hate your fucking guts for being in poly. But we're willing to accept same gender and same sex marriages. Like, a man can't marry 2 women, but a man can marry a man. I'm not, again, nothing against LBGT. They fought.
Alright, but you know, she said, you know, she basically said, damn, I forgot how exactly I wanted to word it, but you know, she's speaking the truth. You know, how is it in this society, you know, two niggas can be together, but yet, you know, when a man can have, you know, when a man talks about multiple women, he's the worst thing ever. Alright, it just goes to show you how backwards this, you know, society is. And you know, she talking about some, oh, I don't care about, you know, the LG blah 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 community. Man, to hell with them niggas. They gonna die. Alright, because the Lord ain't with that. But let me go to Isaiah 5:20, because we live in such a backward society, it's not even funny. Alright, that's why this place, Babylon, is called the City of Confusion. Alright, nothing but confusion that goes on here. You know, you don't know that whole LG, you know, blah blah community. They don't know what they want. They got demons on them. You know, that's why they call themselves they thems and all different types of shit. You know, and guess who's at the forefront of that? You know, guess who produced that? Esau Edom. You know, so-called white man, and he's literally the reason to blame for everything in the society. All right, and not you know, because Esau he'll do some shit, right, and then he try to step back and then blame you. All right, that's his traits. All right, and you know, for another example, it's like the whole crack epidemic. All right, you know, they try to blame Jake. You know, oh, you know, y'all crackheads, this and third, but who's the one that put those, you know, put that shit in our communities? You know, who's the one that put guns in our communities? All right, and Esau, he puts that whole faggotry in the community ultimately, because when you go on Netflix, you look up a series on Netflix, you gonna have a homo Jake, all right, and they pushing that shit hard and heavy, all right. But this is Isaiah 5:20. It says, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. All right, and that's everything here. You know, everything here in the society is backwards. You know, it's frowned upon to be a masculine man. You know, hence why they call it toxic masculinity. Yet, when a woman's masculine, they think, oh, you know, she's strong, she's brave, she's empowering. You know, that shit's backwards, bro. It says, woe unto them that are wise in their own sight, and it's like, woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. All right, and this society is backwards. All right, but let me get that. Never mind. I hate when it does that shit. But let me go to because some of the scriptures, or not some of the scriptures, some of the comments I've seen was they hate masculine men, which is correct. You know, look at the whole Willie Lynch letter. You know, part of that letter was to get the father out of the household, and Esau did a real good job at that shit. you know, by giving woman power over the man, and you know, for the woman to rely on Esau and not the man. All right, and you see the product of that. You know, because when single woman households, a woman can't raise a man. All right, so therefore, because look at these Pookie and Ray Rays, you know, that come from single parent households. That shit, you know, the son becomes either a Mo or, you know, a thug, you know, and Esau knows this shit. Hence why he pushes it so much, you know. So lucky, I'm all over the place right now, but you know, that was one of the tactics Esau used to destroy Jake. All right, but we're waking up to that shit through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai, and it's failing him, you know, and he's being exposed for who he really is. Because even, you know, when videos of truth come out on, you know, on the internet, you go in the comments and they say it's the so-called JEWs, basically. All right, so everyone is waking up to this devil. You know, he's the one that's he's the one to blame at the end of the day. This is Sirach 10 and 2. It says that as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. All right, and look at the leaders, a bunch of homosexual PDF files, you know, that just wicked as hell, you know. So therefore, you know, as the ruler, so are the people. Look at the majority of people in this society, you know. They act just like Esau. All right, especially Jake, you know. Jake want to be like Esau so bad it's not even funny. All right, so therefore, you know, they're gonna have to die the death of Esau. You know, these 2/3. It says, an unwise king destroys his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. It says, the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. All right, and you know, right now, pursuant to Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. You know, Esau, Edom, he's ruling, all right, and he's produced nothing but wickedness. You know, because even in the account of the Maccabees, all right, let's get that right quick. Alexander came in power, you know, and his 4 generals. Well, when Alexander took over, and then he died, and his 4 generals came into power. Let's just read it. Evils are increased. There you go. First Maccabees 1:7, it says, so Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule, everyone in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. All right, and part of them evils was being straight up Mo. You know. Also, another comment I saw on the thing, it says, you said because she said, why is sleeping? Why is a man marrying another man not frowned upon, but yet a man marrying multiple women is the worst thing ever? You know, roughly paraphrasing. And when the comment said, because one is white culture and one is not, and which is facts as hell, because you look at the history of Esau. Esau's a base man, you know. Even Job said it. All right. This is Job 30:1. It says, but now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have ordained, I have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. All right, it's talking about Esau, because Esau, you know, he'll probably sleep with your dog. Bestiality is rampant in white culture. All right, and that's facts. You know, Esau be having sex with horses, dogs, and you know, other men and little kids. That's Esau culture. That's Edomite culture. All right, so therefore Esau gonna push that shit on Jake and try to normalize it, you know, and try to ultimately accuse Jake of it. But that's the product of Esau, you know. Now, of course, Jake wicked as hell too, but shit, Esau, that's what he's known for, you know. It says, I'm gonna keep reading on down. It says, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished. gonna skip down right quick. I'm just keep reading actually. It says, for want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former time, desolate and waste, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. It says, they were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief, to dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, in the caves of the earth, and in the rocks. All right. So ultimately, Esau is a real cave dweller. You know, he's the real Neanderthal. You know, as they try to push that, oh, we came from them. Hell no. You know, we were ruling. You know, we were established. We had none. We were nothing like Esau. You know, Esau walking on all fours. You know, he's the wood roast. Let's get that right quick. This Esau, red and hairy. They're trying to make it all fucking mythical and shit. Hell no. Nigga, base as hell. Esau like a mother, bro. That's Esau right here. Walking on all fours, sleeping with dogs and shit. This is white culture right here. This is where y'all came from. All right, you Edomites. Y'all, because look during the Dark Ages. You know, Jake taught y'all how to wash y'all ass. You know, Jake taught y'all how to eat properly, and rule with class. You know. And then they it's funny because they like to scoff to be like, oh, we was kings and shit, and because we were, but we fell. But guess what? We coming back into power, and that's y'all ass. All right. But reading on down, it says, among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together. Let's go with the word braid. To bray, utter a loud and harsh cry. You know, some animalistic type shit. All right, that's what they did. It says they were children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were viler than the earth. All right, and then Esau vile as hell. You know, Esau and Elam are like hand in hand vile. All right, it says, and now am I their song? Yeah, I am their byword, and that's a part of the curses. All right, and that's going to show you that the Lord. Oh, I'm just keep reading. It says they abhor me, they flee far from me, and they spare not to spit in my face. All right, so they disrespect us, but that's coming down. We come to the end of that, all right, because ultimately Deuteronomy 30:7, these curses shall come upon our enemies ultimately. All right, but let's get Daniel 7. I think it's Daniel 4:17. There you go. Daniel 4:17. It says, this matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men and giveth it to whomsoever he will. All right, and the Lord gave this devil Esau, Edom, you know, power over the earth. Job 9:24. And it says, reading on down, it says, and give it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men. All right, we just showed you who the basis of men were. It's Esau, Edom. You know, he's in power. He's ruling. You know, look at his office. You know, motherfuckers is gay. Motherfuckers is disgusting, bro. So that's why things are moving in this type of fashion. You know, and these people are dumb as hell because they eating it up, you know, especially these women, all right, thinking that it's normal for a man to have just one woman, you know. All throughout nature, you know, look at nature. You know, scripture says, does nature itself not teach you, all right, that a man can have multiple women, but yet they drink Esau's philosophy, his wine up so much, you know, this Babylonian wine. You know, they drink it up so much that they damn, I can't speak right now. That they don't understand it's only for their own hurt, because when it's all in order, you know, as the scriptures, you know, state, the scripture says, let everything be done decently and in order. They don't understand that it works out in their benefit, you know, because when a man has multiple women, he can love You know, of course, he loves his woman differently, but I'm gonna just say it like this: an example. You hang out with one woman, right? Say you got a woman at home, and you go out to hang out with another woman. After you're done hanging out with that woman, you appreciate your woman at home much more, and you know you could be quote unquote happier. You know, that's just how we were made. You know, Salakia for I'm trying to hit the nail on the coffin, but shit, it's hard to speak. But this is Isaiah 60:1. It says, "Arise, shine, for thy light has come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee." All right, so gross darkness the people. These people are in gross darkness because Esau, has basically blinded these people, But through this truth, you get the light, and you see things for how they really are. All right, and people are starting to wake up now because now you got women, willingly accepting that, a man having multiple women is natural, Now they're waking up to the bullshit. They're starting to see that me trying to tie down my man to myself is only hurting me. All right, because you bring more stress upon a man. Like a man can respect you if you bring him more women. All right, he'll love you more, and that's game. But let me go to Isaiah 24. Isaiah 24 and 5. It says, "The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant." All right, so this earth is defiled because Esau Edom has changed everything. He's called bitter sweet and good bitter. So everything is upside down. But when the Lord comes in, when the Lord takes over, Lord willing, be joint heirs, we're gonna set up righteousness upon the earth, and that's when everything's gonna flourish. All right, but you see the product of when Esau Edom rules, the so-called white man rules. He just fucks everything up. Now everything is backwards, and this whole society is confused. All right, but I think I'm gonna end the lesson here. If you have any precepts, just put them in the comments. But hopefully this lesson was well said and edifying. With that, I'm gonna give all praise and glory to Yahweh by Shemi outside, by Hashem Kakodash. Next time, shalom.